Welcome back to the MCC Coaches Show here on Country 93.1, celebrating a state championship as the Crusaders with a 35-12 victory over Beal City last Friday at Ford Field. Right now I'm joined by a couple of my broadcast partners. Mr. Jim White, there's an APB out for you. We're trying to figure out where you are, but we have Pat White to my right and John McKay to my left. And gentlemen, it's good to be together one more time before we put this season to bed. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Great season, Matt.
Yeah, well, man, those guys did the hard work. We just did the easy stuff. We got to sit and look at it and talk about it.
You know, I've never seen a championship trophy, but you'd think the state could, do a better job of that.
Pat's complaining. It's not big enough. It's not big enough to cover everybody.
Big and shiny and,
Well, they got to make 8 of those every year, though. They got to watch the overhead.
As long as we get one of the 8, I'm going to be happy with it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you guys, we talked about it probably a week after the Grand Rapids Catholic Central game. We saw a lot of talent with this team, but there was no victories on the board yet.
Well, it was a lot like last season. Same 2 teams, same 2 losses. There was a boatload of talent on this team. We had a couple of kids sick the first week. We had a lot of hot weather the first week. I don't think conditioning's ever a situation or an issue with this team, but we just had some things fall against us. But I don't think there was ever a lack of any confidence from what I took away from these boys. I mean, there was always the confidence that they were going to get it done. They just got on that run and just kept going.
Yeah. I mean, 12 in a row, Pat, that we got to watch and call. And truth be told, there wasn't very many close ones in there.
No, there wasn't. I just think that after the 2 losses, the coaches got together with the kids and we're turning it around. We're going to get their attention, and they sure did because they improved every game.
Beal City, correct me if I'm wrong, was the first team to ever score on us in the first quarter all season long.
Right. That's correct, by 3 seconds.
By 3 seconds, exactly right. When you think back about the Catholic game, too, excuse me, Pat, I mean, right before halftime, we have a lead. They score a touchdown literally with 10 seconds to go in the half. They come out. We fumble the ball in the first possession, just made a mistake. And things just went against us. But anyway, continue, please.
But, when after the first 2, sometimes it's good to lose. And I think it got all of our attention, and they just went game by game by game by game and improved every game. Oh, and the last 3 games were just wonderful. I mean, how could you ask for anything better? Defeating 3 teams that were undefeated. Number
1, number 2, and number 4.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and the only reason we didn't get to number 3 is because they moved up to Division 7 instead.
They didn't want us again.
Yeah, Harbor Beach didn't want to see us again.
Exactly.
Pat, we'll start with you. Talk about this. I mean, the playoff run, every game we won by at least 14 points. And I know a couple of those games, you said watching that Mendon game over again, you were still nervous watching that game. But all in all, I mean, these were convincing victories. There was no flukes along the way.
No question. And I thought the game planning was just great. I mean, we took every team out of what they like to do. And when you can do that, like Mendon, threw the ball 25 times. Well, Mendon doesn't like to throw the ball 25 times. Taking Coleman right out of the ball game, against the
New Lothrop.
Yeah, New Lothrop, and just taking him right out of the ball game. And he's arguably, I guess, the best football player in Division 8. Now, I would question that.
I changed that.
No,
I changed the ruling on
I
that.
would question that a little bit, but
I think the best player in Division 8 is sitting right over there. But
right. He had 18 yards for the entire game. We caught him for 33 behind the line of scrimmage. So, I mean,
well, what I took out of this thing is when I'm reading some comments by the Mendon coach, Schultz,
John Schultz,
that's his name, saying that, the state championship in number 8 division will always come through Mendon. Well, I got news for him. They're coming through Muskegon next year.
That's right.
Well,
Now, before we start looking ahead, which is going to be fun to look ahead, very fun to look ahead. John, I want to talk about your experience because it was a little different this year for you. Obviously, you're doing the pregame show, and then you get to sit and watch the games.
Yep.
But you're also got a little inside information there. Your son Matthew was on the team this year.
He was.
And for people that don't know, Matthew never played football before this year. So, I mean, when you're coming in as a junior in high school, trying to learn this game, but he was just one of the guys out there, and boy, did he learn a lot this year.
Well, he did, and I'm so very proud of my boy. I mean, he was in there doing what he could do to help the team, and it really dawned on me. I was watching a middle school game with Eric Adams up in the box one week waiting for Matthew at practice, and having coached John, my older son, in Pee-wees and then 7th grade and 8th grade, you forget how important those early years are, just to learn the basic fundamentals of playing football, how to run, how to tackle, how to do things the correct way. But I can tell you this, I don't think Matthew's in a better situation from a coaching standpoint than he could possibly in with these coaches in this school. So I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of all the boys. They did a fantastic job.
They did, and you got to be proud of the head coach as well, Pat. Coach Zerwan in his first year, it's not easy to step in and take over for a coach like Coach Holmes. It's impossible, but not only did he do it, but he brings home a state championship in his first year. I mean, there is something to be said about. I know that there's all the coaches held over, and it's all part of the same system, but at the same point, there's still a new man in charge, and he did it, and he got it done.
But that's right, and Steve, we're all proud of you. Taking over a program from Mike Holmes, pretty hard. I think Steve summed it up when we had the tribute or the banquet for Mike Holmes, that, if we lose this year, it'll be because of me, and if we win, it'll be because of Mike Holmes. And
right.
Steve, that's not true. You did a tremendous job this year, and someone still has to be a leader, and the people, the kids have to respond to you, and they responded, and you got to be very proud of that.
Well, and we can see it here. I mean, we get a special perspective because we're following them every week, and Coach comes out here every week, and he's got a neat relationship with all the young men on the team.
Absolutely. Yep. If I may, you asked Pat about what he sees in this team, and what I saw after we lost those first two games.
Yes.
There wasn't a game that we didn't win on both sides of the ball, line of scrimmage. I mean, we were more physical. We would consistently knock these other teams out of their comfort zone, just being physical, and then just execution and not making mistakes. And I think week after week, from what I saw, this team got better and better and better. And the chemistry of these kids, I don't think I've ever seen a team with this much good chemistry around respecting each other, playing as a team, and just really getting it done as a squad than this team. It's fantastic.
No, I agree with that, John. And I don't know all the kids, but just observing in these situations that we have, a kid that comes in and hasn't played a lot, it's usually the stars all sit together and the other kids are. But, I see kids say, come on, sit by me. Sit, and that's
a big deal.
That's the chemistry that you talk about.
It is.
And boy, you can't buy that, and that's something that just permeates through the whole team.
Well, it's part of being in the Catholic family. I mean, that's what in the few years Julie and I have been part of this family, and we're blessed to be so. Whether it's football or anything that we're doing, that's part of the synergy that this Catholic family has, and I think is what's the faith moving forward sort of message. That's what you get. What you see is what you get, and it's
right.
Fantastic.
And all of that is a result of the trophy. All the parents and the students and the faculty. It's just a great place to go to school, and I don't understand why we don't have 1,200 kids in the school. Maybe someday we will again. But it's just a great place, and what a wonderful year.
It was certainly a fun ride, and let's talk a little bit about the seniors. And you can't start without Alex Lewandowski because, the most valuable defensive player in the Muskegon area. He was an All-State defensive back after last year being an All-State running back. He was also on the Muskegon M-Live Dream Team as a defensive back. I mean, the awards are coming. Coach Serwan said in one of the post-game interviews, I think if a Division I school passes up on him, they're missing out on someone special. And I think they're right. I think some people need to start paying attention to Alex on that Division I level. And hopefully we'll see him get a chance to do something special somewhere.
Oh, I think they will. It's early. There's, a lot of commitments that have been made and are going to, go away and fade away. So I think he's going to have some opportunity. I'd like to say, Alex, you had a great year, and Ian Tyler had a great year.
He certainly did.
The two seniors that played the most.
And Mickey Riley in there.
And Mickey and
great kid.
Dominic Mitkiff.
But
Joe Serena.
I think Nick Holt and some of you seniors, the seniors to be, you have to take over and do the same thing that those kids have done, because that makes a successful football team. You just have to provide the leadership that those two guys provided during the course of the year.
Well, and you talk about Ian Tyler. He was a Muskegon M-Live Dream Team defensive lineman. And obviously we're going to miss Ian, but as far as the lines, offensive and defensive, he's the only guy that's leaving.
Right.
I mean,
oh my is
right.
Yeah.
Oh dear, if you're on our schedule for next year.
Well, and I think next season started today in the weight room, I believe.
It did.
Oh yeah. So that's the mentality these kids are going to have. You do your other sports, stay healthy, and I think. Let's talk about that. Staying healthy was really critical in this run. Everybody was healthy week after week. We were blessed not to have anybody get dinged up. And that, we playing other teams that are without their quarterbacks or without this, without that. We were really blessed to stay healthy through the final weeks of this season.
Well, I think it takes some luck, to win a state championship. Not only a good team, but you need the breaks, like John, you mentioned. I don't remember a sprained ankle or a dinged up shoulder, and normally is what you get during the course of the season. Mm-hmm. And especially, we had a lot of kids play both ways. And
right.
We were fortunate in that nobody was injured.
Well, you talk about Alex and the impression in the playoffs. I think when I saw him dragging Amari Coleman across the goal line scoring a touchdown, that was pretty much indicative to me of this is, if not the best kid on the field today, in the top three, and they're all on our side of the ball.
Yeah.
So anyway, and he's going to Central Michigan. So you talk about Alex getting looks from these other schools. I think they'd be very wise to give him a good look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
While he's playing some hockey.
They might not like the hockey thing too much.
I like that hockey thing.
You
that
love
hockey thing's a good thing.
There you go.
I tell you what, let's take one final break, and we're going to come back and wrap things up. It's the Crusader Coaches Show here on Country 93.1.